Good morning, everyone. It's Mary, and it's now time for another episode of Monday Morning Leadership Bites. And thank you, everyone, for all your comments and messages that you've sent me. I really appreciate that. So I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching. It really means a lot to me. And last week, I talked about why people become leaders. And if you missed that episode, go back and check it out because I'm going to build upon something that I talked last week. And one of the things that I mentioned that leaders hold a position of power and authority, and that power and authority helps develop their why. So not it's necessary to listen to that, but if you want to understand some of the things that I'm talking about, I'm going to build upon that aspect. But power and authority, what does that mean? Often when I'm given a talk and I use the word power, maybe not so much authority, but definitely the word power, I always get a few people that kind of crinkle their forehead and go, whoa, and they kind of taken aback by the word power. And that's because they've ascribed meaning to the word power out of the context of what I'm talking about. Power is one of those words that has a lot of emotion built around it because oftentimes we think of power of lording over someone or having power over someone, and we don't like that idea as human beings, is to have someone having power over us. We don't mind the authority aspect of it, but we definitely don't have the power. And we have to be very careful as leaders when we take something and we ascribe meaning to it that's not really the point of the word or the context of the word. And maybe we'll talk about that in a different way. But when I talk about power, I'm talking about the power to influence. As a leader, you need power to influence people, to develop people, to change hearts and minds, to enable people, to get people to move toward a vision that you're trying to accomplish. And we understand that power is fundamental to making those things happen. It is ability for a leader to do their job. Okay, and we're going to talk about 6 different types of power in just a second, but I want to break down power a little bit more, and then I also want to talk about the word authority. So power is not authority, it's not title, it's not rank. You can have power because of that, but it is not just title, rank, or authority. Power is the authority plus leadership. Okay, and power can be informal and it can be formal. And even in a informal position, power can be linked to that position. Let me give you an example. I do a lot of volunteerism, and often there is usually one staff person, and there could be tens, hundreds of volunteers that they're trying to immobilize toward an effort. And that one staff person is limited in their ability to manage those people. And therefore, they might deputize or take a few people and make them team leaders or team captains and give a portion of what they're trying to accomplish to each one of those leaders. So each one of those leaders has now been given authority and power to help execute the vision of that staff person, right? So we create this kind of hierarchy. Does that volunteer have any more or can have any more power over another volunteer? Only in a sense that they've been given a certain amount of information that they're trying to execute on, right? So that's informal. So their volunteer is still not, their paycheck's the same as yours. They're getting nothing, but they're given their time. But it helps that staff person execute a little bit better. Okay, authority. Authority is power bestowed. Okay, so authority does come with maybe use a title or a position or rank, and it is given. And it also can be taken away. I can provide you authority to do something. I can provide you authority over lots, over a little. And if you betray trust or you're not able to accomplish a job, I can also take that authority away from you. Okay? Leadership is not the outcome of a power and authority. I can be a leader without authority. I can be a leader without power. But if I'm going to be a successful leader, I need a certain amount of power to influence. Authority and leadership don't necessarily go hand in hand. And the best way to think about this is if progress requires changing in the people that are around you, their hearts, their minds, their behaviors, their values. If you're looking to get people to immobilize something and you require them to come along with you in heart, mind, and soul, then that is leadership. If you don't require that and you just need them to do what you need to do, they don't necessarily have to believe in what you're doing, then that's authority. Okay? Military leaders don't require you to necessarily believe in what they're doing. You just have to do it. Okay? order, that provides order, direction, and protection. Authority is there to get people to immobilize around something because we need to do it. There's no questions asked. I'm not winning your hearts and minds. You just do it. Okay? That's authority. And that's the difference between authority and power. So if I want to win your hearts and mind, I want power. If I just need you to do, I just have authority. Okay? And they don't necessarily go hand in hand. So told you earlier, there are 6 types of power that someone can have. One is legitimate power. Legitimate power is that given to you. It is perceived as something where I have a title, rank, or have the right to make the demand upon you for whatever reason. A king, a pastor, a CEO, these are all people who have been given a certain amount of authority, and because of that, they've been given legitimate power because of that. Okay? Closely related to that, but on a different spectrum of that, is referent power. And referent power is that of someone who has certain personal attributes or characteristics that we find attractive, that we find worthy. And therefore, we gravitate toward that person because of that, because of those attributes. We want more from them because of those attributes. We just enjoy being around them. That's referent power, charismatic power. Next would be reward power. That have the ability to positively influence you, compensate you in some way, not necessarily monetarily, okay, monetarily or non-monetarily, but I can positively influence you by giving you something, by rewarding you in some way. Now, maybe it's money, that's all great, but maybe it's I can reward you with validation, with feedback, with, hey, you have the use of my vacation home, or I'll make you a cake, all right? So I can reward you for doing something that I want to get done. And the flip side of that would be coercive power. I have the ability to punish you if you don't do what I ask you to do. So I can reward you or punish you, but those are 2 different types of power. Because one is I'm giving you something for doing something, and the other is there's perception I can take something away if you don't do it. Okay? And next is the expert power. A person has expert power because they literally wrote the book or the paper. They've been doing it for years. They've got 20, 30 years in this business or this industry. They know what they're doing. We go to them because they're the subject matter expert, and therefore they have expertise power. We just do not question them because of that. And closely related to that would be informational power. That maybe I'm not an expert, but maybe I have information that I could share, but I don't share for whatever reason. But in order for you to get something done, you need information from me. You need some kind of data or report or something. I'm not an expert in that area, but you have to come to me. A gatekeeper, secretaries, these kind of folks have power in a sense that in order to get to the next person, you have to go through them. Okay? That's information power. They hold the key or the calendar or whatever it is that they want to do. Now, in these 6 powers, understand that these are levers. I can pull on them at any given chance, and more than likely, I have 3, 4, maybe all 6 of these powers within me, and which one I choose will depend on the situation and the people I'm dealing with. I may start with reward power, come with me, join me in what we're trying to accomplish, and help me achieve this goal, and on the other end, I promise you some reward. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I'll pull upon my referent power. And if that doesn't work, maybe I pull upon my expertise. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I pull upon legitimate power. So we may be able to pull on some of these, all of these. It may be that in a group of people that we're working with, one power works for one set of people, but I have to do it something different for another set of people because we're not all the same and we're not all motivated the same way. Okay? So we have multiples of those. Someone's power is a power to influence. Power and authority are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but I need power in order to have authority. I need power in order to be a leader. You have to learn as a leader how you want to actually bestow or demonstrate that power to the group of people that you're leading. So that's it for this Monday morning leadership bite. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Provide me comments if you liked it or didn't like it. What did you think about that? You may have power. You never really realized that you had power because you thought of power in a very different way. Which power do you have? Do you have expert power, legitimate power, referent power, reward power, informational power? Which power do you have? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to share the video to others And I really appreciate everyone who's been watching. And thank you again for this episode of Monday Morning Leadership Bites.